They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So you said that they put millions of my people. Yes, you said so. Should a murderer go to jail for murdering? Absolutely. Should a thief go to jail when he steals? Absolutely. Should a robber pay back the money he robbed? Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did? That's right. That's right.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog.
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacles set in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never our home, only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating, disfiguring me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me, maybe this slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting, the trail of my tears is countless. Main fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Cracking the sky, nuclear missiles and make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be, slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cage and safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash, get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. Payback is a
Ain't no remorse in my blood slim. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember your Honda's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in this body, you fit a Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is served cold, I just hope they making oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in the world of mad shooters. Devil's design fire for our babies to pass through. In the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
Someday you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. Payback is a dog.
They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So you said that they put millions of my people. Yes, you said so. Should a murderer go to jail for murdering? Absolutely. Should a thief go to jail when he steals? Absolutely. Should a robber pay back the money he robbed? Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did? That's right. That's right.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. Payback is a dog. Payback is a dog.
expected to grow. This obstacle set in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never our home. Only a place of captivity, save facility, hating disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe this slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting. The trail of my tears is countless. May fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Crack in the sky, nuclear missiles and make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be. Slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cages, safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash. Get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom, we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a
Look, ain't no remorse in my blood slim. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember your Honda's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in his body, you fit a Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is dish served cold, I just hope they making oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in the world of mad shooters. Devils design fire for our babies to pass through. In the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog.
All right. Yeah. Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatham. Yahweh Shemar Aladun by Shem Yahshua. Priest and also Tawashab of the Isupk. Started 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. And since 1969, we've been teaching the truth according to the Bible. As usual, this is the Tuesday night Brotherhood class. Each and every Tuesday, we broadcast live from Orlando, Florida. And we are in the Hart Memorial Library, 211 East Stacking Avenue from 6:30 to 8:30 every single Tuesday. So if you're in the Central Florida area and you want to get some questions answered or you want to learn direct from the men of the Isupk, just stop on by. Anybody's welcome as long as you're Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, all right? So that's every single Tuesday, 6:30 to 8:30, all right? All right. Also, I got the attendance sheet. If you're new in the school looking to get your Hebrew name, you're doing your 90 days, make sure you click on this link that you see posted on the screen. Fill out the information so that way you can get credit for today's class, all right? Accumulate enough credit for the 90 days period. That's when you'll be rewarded to receive your Hebrew name, all right? Also, I have the StreamYard link posted as well on the YouTube chat. If you're looking to join the live, you want to join the broadcast, you want to ask a question, you want to give your viewpoints, you want to give a testimony, whatever you want to add in, the link is provided for you, all right? Uh-oh.
Hey, shalom, man, crazy.
They in danger. My nigga Officer Aitazav in the building. Shalom, priest. Yahbashim Yashar Brakatah.
Hey, shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Barakatah.
Man, good to have you, Warrior. Good to have you. Give it up, y'all. Give it up.
Good to be here. If I could, real quick,
Go ahead, soldier.
just want to let everybody know we at the ISUPK Florida headquarters, 1628 Avenue E, Riviera Beach, Florida. You know what I'm saying? If you're in the South Florida area, if you're in West Palm Beach or in the Palm Beach County area, you know what I'm saying, slide through for classes. You know what I'm saying? We also have a food program where we give out free food every Saturday. It's like every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? If you have any loved ones in prison, we have a prison program as well.
Damn right, man. Damn right. Make sure y'all get in contact with them. We also, if you Google us, you can find all the information. You know what I mean, call the number to the school, man. So that way you can get the help that you are in need of. All right. Or if you just want to learn about the Bible, ask questions, whatever it may be, this is what we're here for. You know what I'm saying? We're spread all across Florida. Not only are we nationwide, you know what I'm saying? The ISUPK is worldwide, so like, you know what I mean? But we have boots on the ground in Florida, right? In every major city in Florida, there is a priest or prophet there. All right, starting out from the top to Jacksonville, all the way down to Miami, Florida, you will find an officer that's there to assist you in your need. All right, so don't hesitate, man. We are definitely in the last days, y'all. All right. God, the water for the assistance, man. Of course, man. Click the like button, subscribe, hit the notification button, share this live on all social media platforms. Get this word out, y'all. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I know Monday night is the scripture breakdown class, also because Dr. Mar be doing a hell of a job. You know what I mean? So if you have anything left over that you didn't get a chance to ask last night, feel free to do so today. I'll answer it to the best of my ability. If not, of course, we'll jump into the topic. All right. So, all right. What we got here? Shalom. Y'all about to check out. He's loading up. Who that is? Magazar. Oh, man. We did. Shalom.
Shalom.
Y'all about to check out. What's going on? Priest out of Tampa. Big priest out of Tampa. Give it up. Most High Christ, man. Water for hopping on. All right. If you want to shout out, or y'all be holding down y'all classes as well too out there in Tampa, you can go right ahead, soldier. Or any contact information.
All right. Let's see. Lost.
Nah, no sweat.
All right, we're at the Seminole Heights Library every Tuesday at 6:00. Seminole Heights Library address is 4711 North Central Avenue, Tampa, Florida.
Right, man. Make sure you get in contact, man, so that way them brothers can keep you informed, keep you in the loop, where they gonna be at, where they hold their classes, man. You heard it first, Seminole Library. So make sure y'all stop on by every single Tuesday, y'all. All right. So, since there's no questions, unless any of y'all have questions. Oh, you got a question? Go ahead, Soda.
Come, sir. I have a question. Well, actually, I need a breakdown on Acts 11 and 26.
All right. Acts 11 and 26. Let me go ahead and get there real quick. All right. So do you just want a scripture breakdown on this, or do you have like a particular question on this verse?
I need a breakdown on it, but okay. I was speaking to a sister, and this is what she used to say that that she is a Christian, and this is where the Christians come from.
Okay. All right. No sweat. You can go ahead and read it, boy.
It's the book of Acts, chapter 11 and verse 26.
Mm-hmm.
And when he had found him, he brought him unto Antioch.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass that a whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians, first in Antioch.
Okay, so the word Christian is not what's written in this verse is not how most people depict it to be, right? Nowhere in this verse that we read simply just off of that word that the laws are done away with. You can eat pork now,
Right.
go to
right.
church on Sunday, and do all the things that whatever makes you feel good, right? Simply just off of that word is not where you get that from. You get what I'm saying? Like, people don't understand the difference between being a Christian and Christianity, right? Christianity is a whole nother belief that has nothing to do with these Christians that we're reading about in Acts 11 to 26. All right. These men actually followed Christ. That's what it means to be a Christian. All right. Right. Even in the English language, right? If I'm not mistaken, and I'm sure Itazak can help me out on this, you know what I'm saying? He's good with languages. You know what I mean? Like the suffix of IAN means belonging to, right? Like if somebody were to say that I'm American, that means you belong to America or you're from America. You get what I'm saying? Not saying that there's a whole religion or a belief behind it. It's just I belong to this particular country. You get what I'm saying? Or somebody in this instance saying that they're Christian or being called a Christian, meaning that they belong to Christ.
Oh,
right?
okay.
You get what I'm saying? These are people that actually followed Christ. So what we have to do is decipher is, what does it mean to even follow Christ? What does it mean to even be a Christian? Right? This is the most popular religion on earth. Everybody is a self-proclaimed Christian. The number one denomination, the number one belief, the number one practice that's global throughout this whole earth, right? But only a few understand what it truly means to be a Christian, right? The thing is, they're not actually being Christ-like, but they're following under Christianity and doing what the oppressor tells them to do, right? Let me get Matthew, was it 5 and 17? Let's see what does it mean to be Christ-like, how to be like Christ.
All
right, you got it, Ward.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 5 and verse 17. Think not that I have come to destroy the law or the prophets.
Or the prophets. This is Christ speaking out of his own mouth, right? This is his words. When it's written in red, meaning this is him speaking verbatim. He said, think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. What does that mean, to destroy? You destroy anything, you're doing what with it?
Shalaki.
Go ahead.
Get rid of something.
Yeah, you're getting rid of it, right? You're destroying it, right? He said, think not. So he's saying, don't even put this thought in your mind that I'm trying to get rid of the laws or the prophets, right? The laws that's written of in this book, the prophets that's written of in the Old and in the New Testament, right? Read on.
I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
He said, I didn't come to destroy. I didn't come to do away with, but to fulfill. What does it mean to fulfill? Go ahead. Are you on mute offside, Zach?
So like to do something completely.
Right, to do something completely, to fulfill, to do. Right? Christ said he did not come to do away with the law, but to actually do them. Meaning all the commandments that's written of in the Old Testament, guess what? Christ followed them. Christ followed the Old Testament. In his time, there was no New Testament present. Right? The New Testament didn't come about years after he passed. Right? So the only form that he had of understanding God was written aforetime. Right? Which is what people categorize today as the Old Testament. Right? And within the Old Testament, There is laws, statutes, and commandments that's written in the Bible that we must follow as the chosen people of God. And that's what Christ was set out to do, right? Wasn't he not considered perfect in the eyes of God? But what makes a man perfect then? What makes a man perfect? Go ahead.
The laws make a man perfect.
The laws of God is what make a man perfect. All right. That means if you doing things that's outside of what God wants or what he commanded us to do, then you are not a Christian. You're not a follower of Christ. You're not of Christ. You might be of Christianity, right? Which is of the world and of Satan, which is the white man, you know what I mean? Or the oppressor, right? But you're not of God or Christ. You're not of that. Nor do you have the Holy Spirit in you or none of that, right? Because if you really had the Spirit of Christ or was of Christ or a follower of Christ, then you will keep the commandments of God like Christ did, right? Read on.
Verse 18. For verily I say unto you, to heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle should no wise pass from the law.
Right, heaven and earth, talking about the sky that you look up to and the ground that you walk on, right? He said it will not pass, you know what I'm saying, until you keep these laws, not one jot or one tittle. Everything that's written up for us to follow, we are commanded to follow that, right? The earth is going to abide here forever. So as long as the earth is standing, guess what? You have to keep the laws of God. And guess what? God knows what's best for you. He knows what's best. Trust me, right? You say you trust in Jesus, you trust in God. Trust me, he knows what's best for you. When he tells you not to eat that pork, he knows why. When he tells you not to eat crab, he knows why. When he tells you not to celebrate these holidays, he knows why. When he tells you not to join these other nations, guess what? There is a meaning behind it. He knows better than man. And who are we to question what he wants us to do? The thing is, we become too prideful following after Christianity. Now, the religion of Christianity did not come about until, what we know, the modern day Christianity did not come about until the time of Constantine, right? If you're familiar with Constantine, right? They had a council. I forgot if you can help me out. I think that's or if you as well, my Gazar. The council. Go ahead, so
the Council of Nicaea.
The Council of Nicaea, right? It was a council that they had where they was able to get all different beliefs within that region and form them into one, right? And this is where you get Christianity from, right? And Constantine did not have this council because he felt as if we should all follow Christ. This was all a business idea, right? It was motivated by business, right? Jews didn't want to trade with these people. Muslims and Arabs didn't want to trade with these people. So he said, you know what? I'm going to create a belief to where everybody can eat economically and trade amongst each other. You know what I'm saying? And within that council is where you get beliefs like virgin birth, December 25th, worshiping on Sunday, right? All of that was formed there, right? And from that point on, it grew to what we know as Christianity, right? The belief of Christianity is nowhere found in the Bible. Religion is nowhere found in the Bible. Nowhere. Right? But you will find the word Christian because these disciples followed Christ. And how did they follow Christ? By keeping the commandments. That's what they did. They didn't worship on Sunday. They didn't do that. They didn't eat crab, pork, shrimp, and lobster. They didn't, for sure they didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? They didn't worship all these false gods and these holidays. They for sure didn't do that. They did whatever was written in the Old Testament. You know what I'm saying? That's how you know somebody's a Christian. Right? So I don't know if that answered your question, Ward.
Come. It did.
All right, most high Christ, soldier. Most high Christ. All right. Any other questions or anything y'all brothers want to add into as well?
Law, sir.
Sir.
All right. All right. Any other questions in the chat? All right. All sound right. So, all right. So let's get into the topic then, right? All right. As class is titled, what did I put down? I can't even see the title on here. But I put when will white America have their I have a dream moment? Right? Do y'all remember what yesterday was?
Mm-mm.
I knew y'all was gonna, I knew you was gonna say that. Anybody remember what yesterday was?
Slocky.
Go ahead, Soldier.
9/11.
9/11. And who could recall what happened on that day? September 11th.
Slocky.
Go ahead.
So at that time in 9/11, that's when I guess it was a terrorist act.
Mm-hmm.
Where the terrorists ran planes into the buildings and destroyed one of the biggest monuments, or however you want to call it, of America, the Twin Towers, and destroyed a lot of they destroyed a lot of things. They broke America's pride with that. Yeah.
God, right? So 9/11 is where some terrorists hijacked a plane and flew that plane into two monumental buildings in New York. And those buildings burst and came crumbling down. Right? And there was also iconic moment is after those towers fell, George Bush went onto the streets of New York and he made an iconic speech saying, I have a dream. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that speech George Bush gave? After those thousands of Americans died in that building, George W. Bush, came up with this moving speech saying that one day Arabs and Al Qaeda will hold hands with Americans and live peacefully and love each other. Y'all remember that speech?
A little bit, sir. A little bit.
The thing is, right? The thing is, when after that happened, America did not go through the process of having their I have a dream moment. After they felt terrorized and harmed and afflicted by a people that's outside of their nation and outside of their culture and their race, they did not process it as a let's figure out both sides and see how we can come together.
Right.
What transpired after the 9/11 attack? Who recalls? Go ahead.
A bunch of bombs dropping.
Bunch of bombs dropping. Right? If somebody can give me if you can give me the numbers of how many died in response of the 9/11 attack. All right. In retaliation, as this image shows here, what George W. Bush was doing was not trying to tell America to forgive Al Qaeda, right? He was not trying to tell America that they should love Al Qaeda and Islam, right? He was not trying to tell America to turn the other cheek. Who recalls this picture right here, right? Oh, who can even give me the moment that they were in, that you was in when them towers fell? I remember where I was at, man. I was still a youth in school, you know what I mean? And everybody had the TV screen pulled up in their classroom, and the teachers wasn't even teaching nothing. We were just glued to the TV, and they allowed us to go home early. So, shit, I called my parents and went home early, you know what I mean? But who can recall this moment right here?
Good luck, sir.
Go ahead, Soda.
Yes, from Michelle Brucker Thumb.
Hey, Shalom, was that Trooper Kanat?
Kind out of one gun.
Hey, what's going on, Soldier? Good to have you on, boy.
No sweat, sir. I was also in school. I was in I think I was about the 11th or 12th grade, and then we had a free day, and we was watching movies all day, and all of a sudden, the teacher come running in, changing the channel, and they put it on this. They put it on the towers, and as they were showing it, I think the first tower was on fire, and then we saw the second plane hit the second tower. I thought it was a movie.
Niggas
I was
couldn't
like,
believe that shit.
yeah, I thought it was a movie. I was like, man, nobody don't want to watch this shit. Like,
Right.
put it back on the other movie. But not knowing when it said, yeah, like knowing when it said, no, this is live action. This is right now. And, you could just tell, like, all the Edomites, they was just, like, in awe. They was like, oh, my God, like, mouth wide open, teary-eyed. Like, you know what I'm saying? They was feeling it. I don't think nobody in the hood cared about it like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
I didn't know nobody that was there, but now that I do feel for all the brothers and the sisters, Black, Hispanics, and Native that was possibly in those buildings. I feel for them, but for everybody else, I didn't care. Salaki.
God. Who else said Salaki? Y'all want to share y'all moment? Nobody else said Salaki?
Nah, if I could, like I was for some reason I believe we was having like a movie day too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I remember being like a baby. Like it's 2001. I had to been 6 years old, 7 years old. And I was about 8 years old. Yeah, we was just, you know what I'm saying, elementary school. We did. Hold up, my bad.
Not no
Anyway,
sweat.
but yeah, nah, I don't really recall much of it. Hold up. Yeah, I don't really recall much of it.
Right.
I remember getting home, and it was just like, it's kind of like, it was weird, you know what I'm saying? Like my mom had came home from work, and we was watching it on the news, and I ain't know what was going on, but like you said, it was like a movie, like what's that movie called? Independence Day. Yeah, that's all I could think of it. Like I just 2001. That was around the time where I think, am I right or wrong? I think Independence Day came out like 99. So we had that movie on bootleg. I mean, Slacky. We had that movie, and and I remember watching it, and like I would watch it like almost every day, and it seemed like a scene in Independence Day. But that's all I could think of.
God.
It was weird. Though.
Yep. See, it's a day, right?
Yeah.
Anybody else? All right. Right. On this horrific and dreadful day, where thousands of lives were lost in America. Right. This is, if I can recall, right, this is the first time that America has been attacked on U.S. soil. Right. And on this day, go ahead.
So like, I didn't even catch up. It's actually the second time. The first time was Japan and Pearl Harbor. So like
Pearl Harbor. Okay, kind. Pearl Harbor the first time, and this being the second time. So you should know that this is a shocking moment, right? This is a moment that don't happen often on U.S. soil. And thousands of lives were lost. And after the towers fell, right, America felt threatened behind this attack. And what George Bush did in going to the streets of America was to give people a sense of hope, to give people a sense of pride in that they will be justified for what happened to them. And from that point on, how many people end up dying in retaliation? Let's see. Did any of y'all was able to find that?
So like you, sir.
Go ahead.
I think it was like close to 2 million people, 2 million Afghans, 2 million Iraqis.
2 million Iraqis. God.
I think it was around that. I know it was in the millions.
Mm-hmm.
You said people that got bombed or people that hit that got killed in the buildings, or Salakia that got unalived in the buildings.
Okay, kind. I mean, if you have both, I mean, I'll take which you got.
I mean, honestly, it says during 9/11. So firefighters, passengers, everybody in the building, but not anybody overseas.
Okay, well, the Iraq War, right, which is the response to the towers falling. If you can grab me the figures on that, right? Trooper Canuck said 2 mil. Go ahead. What you said?
If I could just hit you with the number with the so-called victims, or I'll call them
Okay.
victims.
Okay. Con, what you got, boy?
The attack, it was 2,977 unalived, and
2,000.
yeah,
Go ahead. My bad.
all across New York, Washington D.C., and Pennsylvania.
Dang, all across America, the East Coast, right? That people was dying behind this terrorist attack. America felt threatened, right? They felt hurt behind this. And it's so much so they made it a day to where we should never forget. How long has it been? What, 20 years it's been? 20 plus years?
Yeah,
This is a day that they memorialize each day. They'll have a speech about it. They have a little ceremony. They even have a memorial out there in New York for all the lives that was lost listed on stones, right? Because this is a day that America took a great loss. And a lot of people was frantic behind it. They didn't know how to feel about it. They had loved ones in that building, people that they cared about in that building. People was jumping off of the roof in that building. So many people was dying, panicking, not knowing what to do.
Slacky.
Go ahead.
If I may, we gotta say unalived and
So like my bad. Nah, you right. Yeah, you
or
is right.
or taking the life of.
Okay, taking it right. Unalive or taking a life of. So many people was unalive on that day. You know what I'm saying? The blood of so many people was spilt on the ground. And on that day, America felt so hurt behind this attack. Felt so threatened behind this attack. How did they respond? What you got for me, Atizah?
So what I have is it's like a broken down number. So it says, hold on. It says American service members in Afghanistan was 2.44. Wait, 2.4. Basically 2.5, right? Thousand. And then U.S. contractors was 3.8 thousand. The Afghan National Military Police 66,000. Allied NATO service members 1.2 thousand. Afghan civilians 47.2 thousand.
47.2. That's where I wanted right there.
Right.
The Afghan civilians, right?
Yeah.
The 47.2. Now, of course, if you add all these numbers up, they accumulate to what, 2 million, like Trooper Canuck said, just roughly around there. You know what I'm saying? But civilians, right? Now, in the 9/11 attack, it was nothing but majority of them was civilians. Those casualties were civilians. Right? But in response to that, from the 2,000 that died in 9/11, America killed 47 of theirs. 47,000 of theirs.
Civilians.
Now that's including residential homes, right? That they was living in, hospitals that people was getting treated in, schools, rec centers or whatever they had, malls, whatever they had, place of worship. All these things was being destroyed during this war in retaliation to 9/11. Now, why didn't America respond to Al Qaeda how Martin Luther King respond to the hatred that black people receive? Can anybody answer me that? Why didn't George Bush get on that megaphone and speak in a way that Martin Luther King would speak, but rather give a speech about wanting to retaliate? Why was that? Why is that?
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead.
Because as the Most High said in the Bible, that Esau lives by the sword. That's all he know is war. He don't know peace. He don't know compassion. He don't know none of that. And to say that that war just didn't last 1 year. That war lasted a couple years. 9/11 was one day. It wasn't attack after attack after attack. It was one attack, one day. Bush
Calm.
made that war last a couple years.
Right. That's a
So
heavy
like,
point. Nah, Calm, you right.
If I
That's a
could,
heavy point. Right? Calm. He was blessed with the sword, right? But that's not exactly why they felt the need. Right? You want to think about human nature. Go ahead, Officer Itazat.
if I may,
Mm-hmm.
because he understands justice.
Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Get a brother a hand. Right? He understood justice. He understood that the people that died in 9/11 was or the people that was unalive in the 9/11 was unjustly murdered. And he understood that those people needed a means of justice so they families could be at ease from the suffering and the pain that they felt from seeing their loved ones lives being lost in those towers. You know what George Bush did? Instead of saying I have a dream and one day Arabs and Al Qaeda will be holding hands and Americans and be loving each other, he strapped up his military, sailed them across the ocean to go to Afghanistan, and killed 47,000 civilians. 47,000. All behind the name of justice. Right? Now, what about us, though? What about us as Black people? Why is it that America is allowed an opportunity to be given a hero, but all we have as Black people is to follow is a traitor? When are we going to get our moment to receive justice the same way America felt like they needed to receive justice? When everybody will agree 9/11 is wrong, ain't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Didn't they memorialize it each day that you should never forget about what happened on this day?
Mm-hmm.
But why is it when it comes to us and wanting to receive justice for what happened to us for being terrorized in the streets of America? You know, those were terrorist attacks that happened unto us. We had to live our life in trauma and fear, afraid of being terrorized simply because of what? Our skin being Black? There was what they call that joint? Sundown towns, right? If y'all familiar, you know what I'm talking about, sundown town.
I heard about that too. Salaki.
God, well, Black people cannot go outside past a certain time in particular towns, right? Because once the sun go down, they are in danger of their life. Where white Klansmen or white angry mobs will rage and kill whoever they find after the sun goes down. This is the reality of being Black in America. And guess what? We have never have gotten justice behind that. But when America felt threatened and when America was harmed, we was all expected to rally behind America and say, go get Al-Qaeda.
Mm-hmm.
Get Osama bin Laden. We cheered in the lawns of the White House when Osama bin Laden died. But yet when it happens to us, when we get harmed, though nobody understands the justice that we require as Black people. You know why? Because we've been given traitors and we was never given a hero. Right? Because Black people desperately need a hero. That's what we need. right? Why you think is never shown or ever depicted, even in Hollywood, on a TV or whatever it is? The only majority of heroes that we ever can relate to as Black people is somebody that's a ball player, a rapper, a singer, or actor, or something like that. Now, I'm not taking this away from anybody's personal life. You might have your own personal hero or somebody that you look up to, be like, that's a good Black person. You know what I'm saying? But yet, as a collective and as a whole, we never had a moment to where we was so moved and rallied up to wanting justice for what happened to us, for wanting a sense of right for all the wrongs that happened to us. But yet we was told to forgive the people that done us wrong. You know what I'm saying? Well, guess what? America needs to be called out on its hypocrisy.
That's right.
George Bush, the U.S. military, the presidents, and everybody that rallied behind 9/11 needs to be called out on their hypocrisy. Because the I Have a Dream speech was a lie. It never came to pass. They tell us not to forget about 9/11, but just 2 weeks ago, 3 Black people got killed in Jacksonville. How many people still remember that? Don't nobody talk about that at all. You don't see it nowhere on social media or nothing. I'm talking about 3 innocent Black people just minding their own business, got gunned down in a dollar store simply just for being Black. You would have thought there would have been a protest. People would have a press conference in front of the store. Jesse Jackson would have came in a helicopter and skydived down in that dollar store. Or something would have happened. You know what I'm saying? Somebody would have stood up. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we become so desensitized to what happens to us that we just forget about it. It's back to worrying about, Krayshawn or getting a bag or worrying about Blueface or, whatever's popping on social media. Or bitches getting hit in the face with bricks and all that. That's all we worried about. You know what I mean? But when 3 Black lives are lost, nobody stands up for justice for them. We are made and programmed and desensitized to forget about our trauma and our pain. But nobody on this earth ever thinks like that. America did not forget about their pain. They didn't forget about their hurt. So much so they went and unalived 47,000 civilians. All right, if I could, let me get Jeremiah. I'm gonna give you some truth to who Martin Luther King was, right? And why he's not a hero to Black people. You know what George Bush is? That's what I'm gonna say. This picture right here, this picture is iconic. You know what I mean? This is something that's gonna go down in the history of America. Like he knew what he was doing. This is something that's straight out of a movie scene. Like I said, this is like a movie.
Yeah.
Everybody's in distress, nothing but debris and destruction around you, and the leader comes up with a megaphone and cheers you on and says, "We're gonna get some get back." That's like some, gladiators type joint. You know what I mean? George Bush is an American hero, man. That's what he is. All right. America gets the opportunity to champion behind George Bush. They get an opportunity to cheer on the lawns of Washington, D.C. behind Barack Obama. There have been so many heroes laid out for white America. But how often do we get an opportunity to feel heroic for wanting justice, for getting our get back, for getting some ounce of retaliation? What heroes do we have? The ones that actually fought back are forgot about, or even demonized or criminalized.
Right.
People like Nat Turner is not even taught in the school. They claim him as a bad man. You know what I'm saying? Toussaint, of course not. Toussaint was a traitor. You know what I'm saying? But Baptiste is not even taught about. all these great black men and black women who fought against oppression is not often brought up. You know why? Because they don't want us to feel what America felt in 9/11 when George Bush got on that megaphone. They don't want you to feel empowered like they felt empowered when they seen 47,000 lives being lost on the opposition side.
Lucky.
Go ahead, Soda.
I was gonna mention Galvarino.
Gallarino was that. Go ahead, break that down.
Yeah, people don't talk about Galvarino. He was like a soldier. You know what I'm saying? I believe Taino or Dominican, one of them. And well, he was fighting against the conquistador and stuff, and they chopped off both his hands.
God.
Well, he put knives in his arms instead of hands. He had knives for hands, and he would just go. And now the rest of his life was dedicated purely to taking the lives of conquistadors.
Look at that. And he did that in justice for his people, because his people was being terrorized and tortured. He felt the need to fight back. Now, what holiday do we know of this brother? Is there any holidays out there that we celebrate?
Nope.
You know what I mean? Is there a Nat Turner Day? But we for sure got a Martin Luther King Day. Why? Is that coincidence? Nah, man, it's not coincidence. They understand what they're doing. Martin Luther King is not who you think you are. Think he is, black people, Hispanic people, Native Indian people. He is not a hero to the community. He might be a hero to America, to white America. You know what I'm saying? But he's not a hero to the black community. All right, we're going to get a little bit on that. Let me get that Jeremiah 23. And 23 ball shot.
Okay.
Oh, you got that word.
You want to start at verse 1?
What verse 1 say? Is it good to start out there? Let me get there.
Come on, sir. It's the beginning.
Yeah, start me at verse 1.
Come. Book of Jeremiah, chapter 23, verse 1. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, says the Lord.
Right. The Bible is saying woe. The word woe means what?
Means
What does that
destruction.
mean? You said what? My bad.
It means destruction.
It means destruction. The Lord is calling for the destruction of the pastors that do what? That destroy and scatter his sheep. Right? Who is the Lord's sheep? Who is the Lord consider his sheep? Not everybody's given that title. Go. Somebody said Salaki.
Khan. That's the children of Israel. It's the lost sheep.
Damn right. The children of Israel. Shalom asalapiyah. Yabashim rakata. Good to have you on, word. Damn right. You know what I'm saying? We are the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Right? So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we make up the 12 tribes of Israel. We are the real Jews. Right? Furthermore, even with the Jewish community, how was it they was able to establish the state of Israel? When did the state of Israel even come about? Do anybody know the year that the state of Israel was established?
Come on, sir.
Go ahead, Soda.
1940.
1940 is when they established the state of Israel. Because beforehand, it was normally known as Palestinian land. All right, but it wasn't until 1940 is where you had this whole state established of nothing but quote unquote Jewish people. Why is that? What transpired for them to even get on that process?
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead.
If I may, it was World War I, actually.
Mm-hmm.
They purchased they they purchased the land. They actually had a document. I forgot the document name, but they told Great Britain and the other countries that they will fund. They will give them funds if they could have this the land of Palestine after the war, and it had
Con,
it in
con,
document. I think that happened in 1919. That they
con.
came out
And
with
what
that
happened?
deal.
Con, my fault. What you was gonna say?
No, no. That's all I was saying, sir.
Con. But what happened in between then, right? So from that document that was made to 1940, right? What happened in between then that pressed and pushed people to get this to happen? What took place? What is the most tragic recent event that everybody makes sure they
Salaki,
shove it
sir.
down your throat? Somebody says Salaki,
Colonel Khan. The Holocaust.
the Holocaust, right? The Holocaust. When Nazi Germany was taking Jewish people and putting them in gas chambers. It was reported that he, quote unquote, unalived approximately 6 million Jews. All right, this is just what was reported. That's all I'm doing, quoting what was reported. Right? 6 million Jews was unalived in Nazi Germany. Now, name me the Martin Luther King of the Jewish community that said one day Germans and Jews will be holding hands. Where was the civil rights movement in Germany, where Jewish people was fighting to integrate with Germany? Is there any footage of that? Any photograph at least? Name me who was the catalyst and the pioneer that wanted Jewish people to get equal rights with Nazi Germany.
Lucky, sir.
Go ahead.
uh, I don't know no Jewish person, but I know that Adolf Hitler was tired of the Jewish people taking all the jobs and
Mm-hmm.
getting into college, and he was prejudiced against those people because the Jewish people was at was in the height at that time, and German people couldn't get. They was down there treated like how we get treated in America back in the '60s in their own land by the Jewish man.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Look
like,
at
I know
this.
that wasn't the answer to your question, sir, but I was just saying, I know the
Nah,
roles
no
had
sweat.
reversed. It reversed. Like, Hitler didn't like that. He didn't like the fact that Jewish people were the first ones over his own people in his own land.
Now you hear that, right? If y'all can understand, right, of what we are bringing out right now, is what we're trying to get to and pinpoint to is the hypocrisy of man, especially this quote unquote white man, right? It's so great of a double standard that it goes over most people's heads that people don't even understand. You know what I'm saying? Like these people were stealing the resources of Germany, and Hitler felt offended by that. So much so he created a political party that capitalized or put the German citizens on a pedestal and made them above any other people. And he fought against people that he felt that was harming him. And Jewish people did not take what he was doing unto them as an opportunity to say, hold on, wait, guys. We got to see what we got to do here, guys. We got to love each other. We got to hold hands, guys. There's too many lives being lost. We're not getting the jobs we need. We're not doing nothing that we need to do. The Jewish people took that opportunity to call for allies, to call for troops, to go to war with Germany, and from that point on to establish the state of Israel. They separated from Nazi Germany. They didn't integrate with them. There is no, Jewish German that citizen that exists. Either you're German or you're Jewish. And what they did is they wanted to establish their own sovereignty by creating the state of Israel. And that was a heroic and significant moment for them. But when it comes to us, this is where the double standard is at. We are often told that we have to integrate. We have to assimilate, that we have to love, turn the other cheek. Who cares if they're abusing us? Who cares if they're harming us and hurting us? What would Jesus do? That's what we're taught, right? And we get this from the so-called leaders, the so-called pastors, the ones that's supposed to watch over us and make sure that we're not being harmed, that we receive the correct justice for the wrong that's being done unto us. But our pastors, our leaders are telling us the exact opposite. So you know what God is going to do? God is going to get rid of them. He's going to move them out the way. Because everything that they've been telling us, including Christianity, right, is a lie. Right? Now, jump me down to verse 23, Baba Gashad.
So like it, sir.
Go ahead, Soda.
If I could just add something to the story with the Germans and the Jews.
Come on, get down with
it. It's not even a history thing, but just to show you that hatred or that animosity towards each other runs so deep. I was watching a show, and basically, I think it was a comedian telling the story, but he was basically saying how he was doing a deal with some Jews, and he was happy that he had got his deal. You know what I'm saying? They worked out the deal, so he went and grabbed his car and he pulled around, and I think like in a BMW. And the Jews wouldn't even get in the car because it's a German-made car. They wouldn't even get in the car. Wow. They was offended. They was offended at the fact that he was driving a German car. So it just showed you how deep that still stays with them. And that was recent. That wasn't like 20 years ago. That was
right.
Within the last 5 years that happened. So I just wanted to bring that out to show how they still hold on to stuff like that. Like Jews will still not mess with nothing German made. You know what I mean? Like they won't even do it. So
they didn't even get in the car.
They wouldn't get in the car. They was offended by that. They was like, we're not getting in that car because it was German.
Man, you would have thought Hitler was in that car, huh?
Basically.
Good night. That's how much they feel about their loved ones. People that they love, the people that was put in gas chambers, that they care about so dearly. That's how they feel about them. Till this day, they won't even get in a German automobile. Like, come on now. Is it that sounds like discrimination, right? Don't that sound like discrimination? Because it's so far in the past. Why would you discriminate against German people? Let it go.
Right.
You know how ironic that sounds? And idiotic to somebody that actually loves something? How are you going to tell me not to love my ancestors? That's how the Jewish man feels. And he's willing to take out to whatever extent he needs to take it by not even getting in a German car just to show his appreciation to his loved ones. Because everybody on this earth understands justice, man. Everybody on this earth. But when it comes to us, it's a double standard, man.
It's a lot here.
Go ahead, Soda.
I was trying to find the story. But it was a while back, after the Holocaust took place. It was like a bunch of Jewish people who were committing like acts of terrorism against their own people. And what ended up transpiring is the Jewish people that were being attacked by their people, they took it to court, and they ended up, like the court basically, they basically said in court that they're going to forgive them because they did this out of like traumatic, oppression. You know what I'm saying? This is the result of traumatic oppression. So even though they attacked us, their own people, we're going to forgive them because of what took place, because of the Holocaust. You get what I'm saying?
God.
I was trying to pull up the thing for it, but
God, I get what you're saying. So because Jewish people was committing crime against other Jewish people, they pardoned them because the traumatic experience of what Jewish people been through,
Yep.
i.e. the Holocaust. Now look, ain't nothing wrong for a Jewish person to feel like this. We're not saying Jewish people is wrong. We're not saying America was wrong. Hell, we're not even saying George Bush was wrong. If America felt the need to retaliate for 9/11, then so be it. I mean, 2,000 lives was lost. Go ahead and rally up your troops. 6 million Jewish people lives was lost. Go ahead, become sovereign. Get your own state. Separate. But when I talk about the pain of my own and the suffering of my own, that's when it becomes dismissive. That's when everybody want to say that they don't agree with it. That our pain is not valid. That the reason why we stand on these street corners is because we're fueled with hate. But anybody who has any ounce of love in them will fight for what they love. And here in the ISUPK, we love Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. And we understand that we demand justice for our people.
Yeah, right.
The same way the Jewish man in America felt when they were being attacked. Well, guess what, white America? The shoe is on the other foot. You have been a terrorist unto us. You have attacked us for over 500 years. And God damn it, I need justice for it. It's about time we get justice for all the lives that was lost. But yet, America would never come to that, right? Even when we was fighting to integrate with America, we the ones that pioneered that, right? That movement of turning the other cheek and just wanting to love white people, that was pioneered by Black people. There was nobody on the opposite side that was championing it on, and that was a great political figure on the opposite side that said, yeah, come on and bring them in. Right? Where is the white MLK? Where he's at? Where he at? The white American MLK that just loved Black people so much and needed them to integrate. They was against us joining them. Well, we need to snap out of this and understand the reality of life. A criminal should pay for their crimes. And here's the thing that most Black people don't want to face. The white man is a criminal. That's what he is. He's a criminal, man. And he committed crimes within the Black community that he has not paid for. Al-Qaeda paid. Nazi Germany, their army paid. You know what I'm saying? But what about white America? When are you going to pay? All right. Let's get that 23 real quick.
Okay. Book of Jeremiah, chapter 23, verse 23. Am I a God at hand, saith the Lord, and not a God afar off?
Jump me to 25, Baba Shah. My bad.
Okay. I have heard what the prophet said.
Right. These same pastors and prophets that's mentioned in verse 1, God is giving an account of what they're saying, what they're teaching his people. Right? God heard and heard everything that's been going on and how it affected us as a people. And there's one significant speech that was made that God heard that was a detriment to the Black community. That we think is good, but is really not as good as we think it is, right? Read on.
Okay. That prophesy lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed. I have dreamed.
I have dreamed. All right, this moment right here. This moment right here will forever be known as the famous "I Have a Dream" speech right here, made by George W. Bush. This moment right there. He was in the streets of New York screaming out, "I have a dream, Al Qaeda and Arabs will hold hands with Americans." That's not what happened after 9/11. But for us, when we were terrorized, we was given a speech that told us that we have to forgive a criminal. That told us that we have to love a murderer.
Terrorist.
That we have to love a terrorist. Throw water word. That's the perfect word to put. That we have to love a terrorist, man. Meanwhile, they can triumph themselves and build their self-esteem to be heroes on this earth. That's what they was looking for in that moment. But in our moment of disaster, we was not given a hero. We was given a liar, man, because that's what the Bible calls him. Martin Luther King was a liar. What he told us is not from God. That's not how Jesus was. To turn the other cheek and all that and forgive your neighbors and love your enemies is so misinterpreted by the Christian church. Starting with Martin Luther King. Matter of fact, let's break those down. Let's go ahead and grab love thy enemies. If I can grab that one, and if I can grab turn the other cheek. All right. George W. Bush did not quote not one verse while he was making that speech on the street of New York. He didn't talk about the Bible. He didn't talk about Jesus Christ. He didn't talk about God and love. None of that was mentioned out of his mouth. But for our leaders to tell us that we have to love a terrorist is the reason why we continue to get shot in the streets today. It's the reason why 3 black bodies was lost in Jacksonville today. It's because we're being fed a lie that will never, ever, ever come true. Never. It just makes no sense. Jewish people knows it makes no sense. America knows it makes no sense. All right, somebody got that real quick?
Come.
Go ahead, Soda.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 5, and verse 43. Ye have heard that it have been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy.
Mm-hmm.
But I say unto you, love your enemies.
To do what?
Love your enemies.
What America got to do?
Love your enemies.
What America should do to Al Qaeda?
Love your enemies.
What about the Arabs and the Muslims?
Love your enemies.
Listen, I remember even after the attack. Remember the the anthrax that came through?
Yes, sir.
Where people was opening envelopes and a white substance was flying on people.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then America created a color spectrum or a grid or whatever to represent different threat levels. Y'all remember that? Like red was like real dangerous and orange, and you know what I'm saying? They had a color scheme to represent different threat levels. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Because even after that, America still felt threatened behind this attack. You know what I'm saying? And even crime against Muslim increased. Right? Nobody trusted them. You ain't want to get your package from them, let alone did you even want to be around them. Right? People will go in the streets and beat up Muslims, spit at them, curse them out. Why was it America never taught to just simply love Muslims and love Arabs? Are we reading out the Bible, ain't we? You say something about that? God. Now, and if y'all say Salakia too, I'll be having trouble to hear y'all. Like I'll be playing the classes back sometimes. Y'all be saying Salakia and I keep on talking. But I don't think I'm trying to ignore y'all. I just can't hear y'all sometimes when y'all say Salakia. But God, you know what I mean? America was not taught even after 9/11 that they should do what? Read that again, Magazine.
But I say unto you, love your enemies.
To love your enemies. All right. But us as black people, we're programmed to believe that reading Love Thy Enemies is talking about loving white America, loving Arabs, loving Japanese, Korean, Chinese, all the people who sought out to destroy us. We're taught to love them. Right? Now, that is not what that scripture is talking about. That is not one thing for sure that the Bible does not do. It does not contradict itself.
Right.
All right. The Bible is not going to say one thing in one verse and you skip a few pages over and it's going to say a whole completely different thing. The Bible is real consistent on what it's talking about. Right? When it says to love thy enemies, who is he talking to? First of all, right? Because he started out by quoting what? What did he start? What was he quoting?
So
Go ahead.
he was quoting the scriptures.
He was quoting the law, the scriptures. And who was the law given to?
The Israelites.
To the Israelites. So when it says love thy neighbors, that's only talking about to who? Who is that pertaining to? Go ahead.
The Israelites.
The Israelites. That's who's considered your neighbor, your brother. The people that's of your bloodline, of your family tree. That's only the people that's going to be able to relate to what Christ is talking about. If Christ would have said this in front of a bunch of Romans, they would have been looking around like, who is this? What is this nigga? Love that. We don't have that in the Caesar manuscript. You know what I'm saying? Like they want to understand that. You know what I'm saying? But he's saying this to people who can relate to this. Right? Because we were given the law. And he's teaching us how to keep the law, the spirit behind the law.
Mm-hmm.
So the enemies that it's talking about is who?
Those are like
Go ahead.
the Israelites.
The Israelites. And how would you know that?
Because that's like you said, that's those are our neighbors.
Give the brother a hand. Give the brother a hand. Right? If the neighbors are Israelites, then guess who the enemies are? Israelites is what? You get what I'm saying? When Christ was telling his people to love thy enemies, he was telling people to stop black on black crime.
Right.
Stop Hispanic on Hispanic crime. Stop black on Hispanic crime. Stop native on native crime. Stop native on Hispanic crime. He was trying to stop the beef between the 12 tribes of Israel.
Right.
And teaching us how to actually keep the laws of God. By understanding that we are not each other's enemy. Yeah, we have our problems and we have our differences, but we're not each other's enemy. We have a greater enemy at hand. He's the reason why that's causing all this trouble, that we even have conflict amongst each other. Right? Like Atazal brought out earlier. When Jewish people was committing crime amongst each other, they was getting pardoned for their crime.
Mm-hmm.
Because they understood what was the greater cause behind these crimes within their community. Well, for us as black people, we got to understand that these crimes that we committed against each other, right? We have to understand that is a greater cause behind it. That somebody is putting the pieces together. Somebody's the puppet master. And we are not each other's to blame. We're not to blame each other. But rather point the finger to who it belongs to. And all the blames belong to the terrorist nation of white America.
Right.
That is who you should not love. You should not love them. If you want justice for Emmett Till and the babies that was fed to alligators and George Floyd and for, the list goes on. You know what I mean? I can name them all night. You know what I mean? But if you want justice for them, then you should not love the people that's harming them, the terrorists that unalive them. The only way you're gonna get justice if you decide and put it in your heart that you're not going to love them by showing that you rather love your brothers and sisters and hating whoever harms them, just like a Jewish person would do, right?
It's a lot.
Go ahead.
If I could I pull a scripture, Baba
Get down, boy. You got it.
Can I get Matthew 5? I'm sorry. No. Matthew 15, verse 7.
Okay.
Whenever you got it.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 15 and verse 7. Ye hypocrites.
Salakia. I was shy. I mean, I'm sitting in this whole class, and that's pretty much all you've been talking about, sir, is hypocrite. The hypocritical behavior of Christianity. You know what I'm saying? The hypocritical behavior of America. On one end, they tell you, you know, never forget what happened to these people. But then on the other hand, they tell you, well, you know, slavery was in the past. You got to get over that. You know, you weren't hung on a tree. You weren't unalived. Your life wasn't taken inhumanely. It didn't happen to you. You know, you're not even old enough to know about segregation or slavery. You get what I'm saying? This is what we get told. Well, guess what? It's a lot of kids these days that weren't born in 2001.
Right.
What do they call millennials or Generation Z or whatever they call it today? Who don't even know what the trade what is it called? The Twin Towers look like. Let it not be for movies. You know what I'm saying? But even today, they still get told, remember 9/11. Well, guess what? The Bible calls people like you hypocrites, man. Read again, Baba Kasha.
Verse 7. Ye hypocrites. Well, did Essus prophesy of you, saying, this people dwelleth, these people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth.
Right. Keep going.
And honoreth me with their lips.
All right, stop. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the Christian church for you. You know what I'm saying? And just like you're saying about George Bush, he's no different. You know what I'm saying? Christianity is an American religion. When I say American, of course, it's the same religion that is also overseas. And when I say American, I mean it's a better word than saying, you know, man. You get
Khan, you right. You right. It's a Western belief.
Right.
Khan, you right.
So what I'm saying is this is the mindset that was passed down to us by our slave masters. Christianity. It's not the mindset of God. It's not the mindset of Yahushua. He's calling these people hypocrites. Why? Because they honor the most high with their mouth. You understand? And they draw nigh to him with their lips, meaning they using their lip service or using their words, saying I love God and oh thank God and God bless America and this and that and that and this. They say these things, but read on.
But their hearts is far from me.
But your mind, which is your heart, is more important than what you say out of your mouth. What's in your mind, what's in your heart is more important. You get what I'm saying? Because I could say, yeah, you know, I love everybody. You know, everybody's my friend, and you know, I get along with everybody. I don't have any enemies. And then I turn around and I steal from, you know, black babies. You get what I'm saying? I take food out of black babies' mouths. I send my wife to an abortion clinic to abort my child. You get what I'm saying? I take another man's wife from him. I can say I love everybody, but then when I point a weapon at somebody and ask them to give me all their money, is that love? Or let's make it even simpler than that. America tells you to love, to remember 9/11, but they tell you forget slavery. Is that love? That's love for those victims of 9/11. What about the countless victims of slavery? What about Galvarino? Was there love for Galvarino? Why is there not a day for Galvarino? Why is there not a day? Why is there not a Commander Johanna Day?
Mm.
You know, not that we need one, but why don't you honor the men that actually serve the Most High, who actually love their people? Why don't you allow black people to separate themselves from America and be their own people since you didn't want us here in the first place? You know what I'm saying? Because you're a hypocrite. And you say you love God, but really you hate God. Because how you love God? You love the God's people.
Right.
You can't love God. You never met God. You never shook his hand. You get what I'm saying? But you have treated black people, Hispanic people, and Native Indian people terribly in the earth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have hated your own people in this earth.
Damn right. Damn right, man. Get that brother down here. That's all it is. Because guess what? Man, listen, I'm pretty sure that there's a veteran sitting in a Christian church, you know what I'm saying, that everybody revered in that church, right? During service. Right? In his uniform, standing there in the praise and worship throughout the whole service. And he gets to sit in the front row and all of that. Meanwhile, he's part of the U.S. military.
Mm-hmm.
But don't nobody consider what he's doing as an act of crime, right? Or as hatred. They understand that the reason why he has his uniform on is to defend the U.S. military. I mean, the USA. All right? But when it comes to us wanting to defend our own, they'll always be looked at something as hateful or something that's, against what Martin Luther King and what God is about, man. I mean, but that's far from the truth, man. The Isupk was established to be the defense of Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Right? We are here to defend the lives of our people. Because so many of our lives have been lost due to Martin Luther King's dream. To cowards like Martin Luther King. I want a heroic moment like America felt when they bombed those Afghanistans. That's what I want. I want to know what that feels like. I'm not saying that we have to do that. You ain't got to strap no bombs. I'm not saying that, internet. Don't quote me and say ICPK said they got to bomb people. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the gratification that they felt from receiving justice. That's what I want to feel.
So like it, sir.
Go ahead, Soda.
Just as a side note, especially with the whole Martin Luther King thing, like he was such a coward that his own philosophy wasn't even his. He got that from Gandhi. He was a follower of Gandhi. So he was holding the Bible saying, don't fight back at these lunch counters, but he got that from Gandhi's practice. Right. And Gandhi wasn't talking about fighting back people because he believed in reincarnation. So they didn't want to hurt they didn't want to hurt cows and flies because they thought it was their family members. So if you do the research, you will see that, Martin Luther King was a follower of Gandhi. So everything he got, he ain't get none of that from the Bible. He got all that from Gandhi.
If I could.
God damn. Go ahead, Soldier.
If I could, to back up what you're saying, Officer Lapa, you know what I'm saying? You can correct me if I'm wrong, but Mahatma Gandhi wasn't anti-violence completely. Like you said, he was only anti-violence against animals and flies and cows and stuff. But he, if I'm not mistaken, I could probably pull it up. He went to war. Or at least he fought. I would say that. I'm gonna put it like that. He was violent against people, but just not ants and bugs and stuff like that, because they could be his people, like you said.
What I would say, for what is very for sure guarantee, he was a racist against black people.
He was still racist, sir.
Yeah, I'm saying he was for sure a racist, and that is the philosophy of Martin Luther King, for sure. You know what I mean? Like, he was not practicing what Jesus Christ had laid down, Because guess what, y'all? Jesus Christ was not non-violent. His movement, his gospel was not a non-violent movement. Now, of course, his disciples didn't go out and kill people, right? But Christ told his disciples to arm themselves, to defend themselves, right? Christ understood that vengeance is the Lord's, right? But I seen a t-shirt that a brother put. If I can shout out the brother, he said, vengeance is the Lord's, but self-defense is mine.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It is our God-given right to defend ourselves. You standing there during the civil rights movement, letting a white man sick a dog on you and beat you with a billy club and think you're doing something honorable or something godly behind it, you're sadly mistaking yourself, man. Because if that was Peter and them, guess what? He would have cut off the ear of those dogs,
Right.
Because that's how they move. You get what I'm saying? But Christ had to fulfill a certain mission. You know what I'm saying? What was Martin Luther King's mission? It was not Christ's mission. Martin Luther King's mission was to sleep with white women. That was his mission. Right? The FBI files have been put out. There's no hiding it now. He wanted to get down with the swirl. That's what Martin Luther King was about. First of all, his name is not even Martin Luther. His name is Michael King.
That's right.
Right? Got Martin Luther from an old English writer or something like that, right? Or some whatever, philosopher. You know what I mean? And named himself after him. And he sold you a dream to forgive your enemy. Somebody said, Salaki, my bad.
Salaki, sorry, I just wanted to pull a scripture if I could.
Just
to back up Christ not being non-violent.
Get down, priest.
Luke chapter 22, verse 35. And he said unto them, when I sent you without purse and scrip and shoes, lack ye anything? And they said nothing. Verse 36. Then said he unto them, but now he that hath a purse, let him take it, and likewise his scrip. And he that hath no sword, let him sell his garment and buy one. That's not the Christian way.
That is dog. I don't know, Lapia. That sounds like a UPK Bible you read it. Commander General wrote that?
Yeah, right.
No. Yeah. That's the whole
Christ says strap up.
Go, what you say?
Strap up.
Christ says strap up.
Strap up, nigga. Get the gap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because his movement was not about just sitting back and letting your oppressor beat you all day. That's not what he was about, man.
If I could.
Go ahead, soldier.
So, I just wanted to back up what you're saying, just so we can prove that we're not lying to these people. You understand? And this is a quote from the Atlanta Journal. All right. Let me read it real quick. He says, now you can read, I mean, if you want to go to it, you can just look it up on the Atlanta Journal. It's titled, Why Martin Luther King Jr.'s Father Changed Their Names. All right. And it says, when he returned to Atlanta, the senior King decided to change his name and his sons from Michael to Martin Luther after the German Protestant leader, according to the Martin Luther King Jr. Research and Education Institute at Stanford. He named himself after a German Protestant leader.
After a white man at that.
Yep.
He named himself after a white man. The same people he told you to join.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
What Jewish man is changing his name to a German name? Name him. They're going to kick him out of the state of Israel if they ever find out a Jewish man is doing that.
So lucky. They wouldn't even get in a German car.
They wouldn't even get in a German car. They said, nah, I ain't getting in that. But we got to name, we name ourselves after white. That's a sad state we in now. I'm trying to listen, man. And I'm listen, Brakatha Yahweh Yahweh Shai for the Isupk. We trying to make this class as simple as possible for y'all to understand that this is nothing. It has nothing to do with love or hate. Nothing to do with that. oftentimes when people see us on the street corner, they quick to label us as a hate group because of Southern Poverty Law Center and all that bull crap. You know what I mean? But they try to use our words as if what we're saying is hateful. But guess what? What would you do, white America, or anybody that opposes us? What would you do if you was in our position and your people was slaughtered for over 400 years? What does that look like to you? How would you respond to that? All we're doing is going to the street corner with our grievances. But how would you respond to your mother being murdered, to your father being murdered, to your daughter being murdered, to your son being murdered, to your whole family being murdered? How would you respond to that?
Unalive, sir. It's alive.
Oh, it's my bad. Unalive. You know what I mean? Unalive throughout the word. Everybody will understand that is evil to do. And everybody will feel the hurt and pain of wanting justice for their loved ones. But why is it when Black people, Hispanic people, Native Indian people require justice, they tell you to forget about it? They tell you all our blood is red. They tell you that you're in the hate group, man. Well, if I'm in the hate group, well, guess what? Jesus Christ and the gospel is a hate group and a hate movement.
Yep. That's hate speech, sir.
That's hate speech. If Jesus Christ is telling the disciples to get a sword, to sell their garment to get a sword, that must be hate speech.
Salakia.
Go ahead.
Just to back you up, sir, if you don't mind.
Get down, sir.
I got another precept right back in Matthew 15.
Go ahead, Soda.
Hold on 1 second. It's chapter 15, verse 24. It says, but he answered and said, okay, wait, I gotta get you 23. So verse 23. 21. Then Yahushua, or Jesus Christ in the Hebrew, went thence and departed into the coast of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the same coast and cried unto him, saying, have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David.
This is a woman of another nation came to Jesus Christ, a Jew, a Black man. Right? Read on.
Come. My daughter is grievously vexed with a devil. Verse 23. But he answered her not a word. And his disciples came and besought him, saying, send her away, for she crieth after us. Verse 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
To who?
The house of Israel.
To who?
The lost sheep of the house of Israel.
I don't know. Sounds pretty hateful, Isupk.
Well, wait. There's
Go
more.
Go
ahead.
No, you got it.
Come. And he said, truth, Lord. Oh, my bad. I skipped it. Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me. But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs.
Dang.
That ain't hate speech. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Looks like we need to get rid of the Bible, get rid of Christianity, get rid of all religions on this earth that's based behind the Bible. That's the case, right? Oh, go ahead, Soda.
If I may add to the pudding a little bit of salt. John chapter 2, verse 14. And he found in the temple those that sold ox and sheep and doves and the changers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them out of the temple and the sheep and the ox and poured out the changers' money and overthrew the tables.
Damn, that's pretty violent. I don't know.
That Yahushua went pootie tang on him with that.
Sounds pretty violent. He went pootie tang on the run.
Went to whipping niggas up out of that joint.
God.
I don't know. This the same Jesus Christ that them Christians be talking about, but this brother right here seemed pretty hardcore.
Mm. Dang, that's a perfect precept, man. You know what I'm saying? That's what Christ was all about, man. You know what I'm saying? And all the precepts our brother brought out. Christ was not nonviolent, and Martin Luther King was not practicing the belief of Christ. Neither nor any Christian pastor out there. You know what I'm saying? For time's sake, what time it is, I want to move on to the next topic. But I just want y'all to know that this right here was a major moment for America. And instead of turning the other cheek, they decided to go to war for justice behind the lives that were lost. You know what I'm saying? Well, let black people have their moment to be a hero too. And give your chance, white America. Give your chance to be more like Martin Luther King. See how that works out for you in your country. When you see a terrorist or somebody that's outside of your country want to commit harm to you, I want you to turn the other cheek. And let's see how that works out for you. But for me and my own people, we're going to do what Jesus Christ said to do. And we're going to serve the most high power, all right? So with that, man, we're going to go to the next topic real quick. I know we short on the time. What time it is?
9:45, sir.
9:45. So this is going to be quick. I want to speak about, I don't know if y'all heard about the story about the sister that got hit in the head with a brick. Y'all familiar with that story?
Car.
Right. So I think it was in Houston, was it? Right. In Houston, allegedly, a woman, right, was hit in the head by a man that she rejected because the man was asking for her phone number and she rejected him. And allegedly, the man got upset, picked up a brick, and just whacked it across her face. What she proceeded to do, instead of calling 911, was get on live and accuse a group of black men for not helping her while getting hit with the brick. Right? And of course, it went viral because a woman getting hit with a brick, right? That sounds crazy. It went viral. And the reaction that most people was putting out is that black man is worthless. Black man ain't nothing. Listen, it was so bad that they was calling black men bullet bags. that's how bad it was. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, black men ain't good for nothing but just receiving bullets. Like, you know what I'm saying? That we're just a bag of bullets. That's all we are. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, black woman was so repulsive against us as black men behind this event. Now, there's a lot of stipulations that's going on. I got my own personal stipulations, of course, you know what I mean? But the facts is our facts, right? One fact is this woman is not African American, that she's not a black woman that got hit with a brick. Now, I'm not advocating that men should just hit women in general with bricks, but this woman being not one of ours, right, takes away the obligation that we have to rescue her. You get what I'm saying? Or come to her rescue, right? If y'all may not know, if anybody's tuning into this class, black people are not African. We're not Somalian, right? Which was the identity of this woman. A Somalian will even tell you that. They will tell you that they're not black. You get what I'm saying? A Somalian is a Somalian, Ethiopian is Ethiopian, Egyptian is Egyptian. They identify with the tribe, the race, the nation, and the country of which they come from, not the whole continent, right? So we, as black people, we are not the whole continent. Neither do we identify with everybody on the continent. You know what I'm saying? We are the chosen people of God. That's one fact. The other fact is there is no video evidence of this woman actually being striked with a brick. That's one fact. Now, we get the aftermath of it, where she's talking about it and accusing the black man for not helping her. You know what I mean? But there's no actual concrete footage of the man picking up the brick and whacking her with it. You get what I'm saying? Now, with that in mind, right, our woman was so quick to rally behind this and use it as a moment to beat down on the spirit of black men.
Yep.
Right? You don't understand what you're doing when you beat down the spirit of black men. Right? Somebody can give me the scripture of in order to spoil a strong man goods.
I love
If you
it.
can grab that real quick. All right. Y'all don't understand what y'all doing. Right? The Bible says that we are in war against powers and principalities in high places. Right? And the powers that be are key in on making sure that they destroy the spirit of the black man. And anybody who takes the side of defaming, demonizing, degrading, effeminizing, or destroying any way, form, or fashion a black man is on the side of those powers and principalities. You are on the side who God is warring against. And you don't understand, all you're doing is perpetuating white supremacy. That's all you're doing. As if there's not a million black men that's in prison right now trying to defend some woman honor, whether she deserve it or not. How many of y'all know? I'm sure everybody, show of hands at least, can raise our hand if I know of yourself or somebody else that's either dead or in jail or did something physical to defend the honor of a woman. How many of y'all know somebody that did that? Everybody knows. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Everybody knows. You know what I'm saying? So the narrative that black men is not protectors, is not providers, is nothing but perpetuating white supremacy. Because that's all to defame the honor of black men. Right? Somebody got me that real quick.
Go
ahead.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 12 and verse 29. Let me start at 28.
For time's sake, you can go right to it. Unless the context is needed. I don't know. What you think?
Karokan, I do.
All right, you got it, boy.
Karokan. Verse 28. But if I cast out devils by the Spirit of the Most High, then the kingdom of the power is come unto you.
Mm-hmm.
Or else, how can one enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods?
Spoil his goods, meaning how could somebody go into somebody, like imagine this, right? In this parable, we're going to create a scenario in our head. Think of it as somebody has a mansion and they got $1 million in his mansion, all type of gold in his mansion, right? How could somebody spoil a strong man goods, right? Now, this house is protected, though. It's protected by the man that has all type of firearms to protect this mansion, right? Read on.
Except he first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house.
Right. So in order to take all the millions of dollars that's in this mansion and all the gold that's in this mansion, they first have to do what? Right? You have the strong man that's protecting it. They first have to do what? Go ahead.
Bind the strong man.
They got to bind up the strong man, meaning subdue him, tie him up. Right? Get rid of the threat or any pushback. Because if they don't tie him up or get rid of him, he's going to be able to get to the firearms and fight against the people that's breaking in his house. So anybody that knows that if I'm going to hit a lick, if I'm going to rob somebody, I got to make sure I get rid of any threat. You know what I mean? So what they did, in this parable is they bind up the strong man in order to take the goods in the house, to spoil the goods, right? Now, in this parable, we have to look at it as how Christ is giving it. Our people, right, is these goods. We are the goods as a nation. We are the goods. Our families are the goods, right? And what is the protector of our families that God has set for us?
The black man, Salaki.
Damn right, the black man. Now, if you take away that protector, which is the black man, guess what you're going to be able to do to our black families now?
Salaki.
Go ahead.
Spoil them.
Spoil them. And this is what's going on in America today. The protection has been taken out the household, and now our household is destroyed. The black man is that protection. For any woman out there to say that black men do not protect the black family or the black woman is a lie, man. Not with these numbers. Not with the numbers of 1 million black men in jail, with a great majority behind it, all behind some pussy, Salakia. A great majority of niggas that's dying in the hood is all behind some broad who even honor don't even deserve to be defended. Most of them. You know what I'm saying? Oftentimes it could be something that's where she messed up in. And because she's a woman, that brother, like what was that story with that football player? I don't know if y'all familiar with this. That happened recently. You said who?
There's a white football player?
Nah, a brother, man. And he was arguing with his girl. It happened recently. And she called her brother or cousin or something like that and said that this dude was hitting on her when it was a lie or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And then the brother and cousin came to confront the football player. And he killed one of the dudes. You know what I'm saying? And he had to go to court behind it and all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And meanwhile, this woman was married. She was a married woman. But dealing with this football player, dude, I think he was a college player or something, or in the NFL, something like that. You know what I mean? And then messing with him, she got her feelings hurt, called her brothers. Now, one of her brother's friend ended up losing his life. Why? Because he was trying to protect the honor of his sister. Now, for us to say that black men do not protect black women, what about that case then? Was that a case of a black man not protecting a black woman? And that's just one story. There's many stories like that that we know of, I know of, that goes on in the hood every single day. A nigga dying behind some box. You know what I'm saying? But this new narrative that's being pushed is all perpetuated by white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? And any woman that's defaming or demonized the black man is trying to take that protection away. It's trying to destroy that protection. Because your oppressor, he knows it. He knows to get to that family, right? He knows to do what the serpent did.